Stargazers and space cadets, we watch transfixed as you enter into uncharted territories of the brains and spirit. If you wanted to live a nice, quiet, peaceful life, you picked the wrong time to get born.
With the symbology of arriving through the chimney, so the transition from spiritual into the physical, we notice the coloring code of the engine of the Taurus, the red and blue shift, and the presence of painted black, referring to the black hole fall, the extraction of a spirit into the material body through a chimney. And then the symbology of the energy rod, a system that seems to control the inflow of light into a tunnel or chimney.
The yin-yang flow, which is a mutation of the yan-yun natural flow, which is not a natural configuration. It is a configuration of energy formed by the tube torus that is part of the Metatronic Beast technology. The tube torus technology creates an energy sucking machine that has these vortices that suck energy in from other living things around it in order to fuel itself, because it is not open to the natural timelines anymore. It can't run the natural energy, so it finds things to feed on. It's the vampiring technology. And that is what the Beast machine has been progressively built on. So the Van Allen belts are actually holding this in. This is called the poison apple magnetic field configuration, and it's very different than the natural one of the yan-yun flows that come from the seed atom. The natural seed atom would be shaped like butterflies. They have a rod current that runs, so they look more like a butterfly.
Toby?
The energy rod, probably best known as the Malteser cross, in which the vertical spirit world, represented by the staff, meets the horizontal material world, the rod.
We are now controlling the transmission. We control the horizontal and the vertical
current. These block the rod because the rod has been hijacked.
The Malteser cross, the symbol of focus of distribution of energy from spirit to matter, controlling all the four states of matter. Like we've seen within the Black X-Star video, the cross symbolizes the meeting of two planes of consciousness. The horizontal bar representing the plane of human consciousness, and the vertical bar representing a God or Christ consciousness, descending from the realm of spirit into the quadrants of matter. The center where the two lines intersect is the point where the energies of heaven are released to the earth. And in truth, it is at this point, which is actually the point of qualification of power, that great alertness must be maintained by all who use power in its many aspects.
Look at that. KO3A. Interesting what it says there. KO3A. Just for your information, K equals 11. So that's 11031. Just unbelievable. We already know about the A113. It's the same thing over and over again. That's all I can say. They're showing you exactly who they are with all the things they're showing you, right? Clear as day. It's not exactly the same way, but it doesn't matter. You can show it. However, give us a cross or a number. You're going to show us exactly who you are. We know who they are. And there he is showing the cross as well, right? Mr. Zelensky, the president. Okay, I just want everyone to understand, because a lot of people are having a hard time understanding how deep and dark that cross really goes.
In The Wind of Change, I sketched the number 33 referring to the outer wall of the torus, reflecting from micro to macro within the energy body into a large force field, known as the hydrogen wall within the solar system. In order to breach and create a hole into this wall, so generating a black hole into an original torus, one will need to control or manipulate the energy rod to open up a flow or current of electromagnetic waves, also known as the light. This system refers to the poison apple, which is an affected torus field that opens up a pathway towards a wormhole.
All right. Wormhole. Wormhole.
Blasting a hole into the firmament. Like we've seen within the Wind of Change, the Sun and Moon system, the Solomon, could be a laser weapon that is using light and its condensed form of water as a weapon to cut and blast a hole into the hydrogen wall, aka the firmament, that of an original torus field. The cutting is done through following a line we call the ecliptic, the yearly path the Sun follows on the celestial sphere, so on the firmament. This process repeats itself in a cycle lasting a little over 365 days. The solar year.
All things it devours. Birds, beasts, trees, flowers. Gnaws iron. Bites steel. Grinds hard stones to meal.
This cosmic dance of creation and destruction is cycled in the concept we call time.
The answer is time.
9, 8.
Time. Eventually, within this world, everything will find death through time. So time seems to be the most destructive force out here. And we even celebrating this countdown to a next apocalypse. So when we look at the cosmic dance of creation and destruction, we notice its cycle within time. In Norse mythology, it's called the wolf, the black, that is chasing the sun, and his brother Hati, the white, that is trying to eat Mani, the moon. At Ragnarok, which probably represents a solar plasma apocalypse, both Hati and Skoll will succeed in their quest.
Hast du schon mal was von dem 33-Jahre-Zyklus gehört? Unsere Kalender stimmen nicht. Das Jahr ist eigentlich nicht 365 Tage lang. Wir sind sozusagen immer ein bisschen aus der Taktung. Aber alle 33 Jahre ist alles wieder genauso, wie es war. Die Sterne, die Planeten, das ganze Universum ist wieder auf der exakt gleichen Position. Der lunar-solare Zyklus.
The number 33 and the Maltese Cross can be linked to the 33-year lunar solar cycle, in which the latter refers to a specific pattern that combines lunar and solar cycles, particularly focusing on the timing of new moons and the solar year. While the lunar cycle, the time it takes for the moon to complete its 8 phases, is about 29.5 days within a 354-day moon year, the solar year is approximately 365 days. This difference in days will realign itself within 33 years, creating an almost exact equilibrium of 1 year difference.
In this case, 9 years apart. What you may know simply as a supermoon or blood moon are actually events of great scientific significance.
Fascinating.
When the lunar cycle reaches exactly the right point, its gravitational forces react with electromagnetic pockets and theoretically creates a kind of bridge.
Yeah, bridge to where?
Another place entirely.
Creating a bridge to a different place entirely through a lunar and solar cycle. A quick recap before we enter the maze. We have a 33-year lunar solar cycle, enabling energy to move between the solar and lunar portal. And then energy is being transferred between the lunar portal and the Earth portal through an eclipse cycle that's 9 years apart.
Appearances of the murder have happened during a very specific lunar perigee, in this case, 9 years apart.
This cycle is called a SAR.
Armed with centuries of data, the Babylonians noticed something striking. Every 6,585 days and 8 hours, which is about 18 years, these cycles sync up, and this happens. This number came to be known as the Saros, a harmonic separating 2 eclipses.
After a Saros length of time, the geometry of the Sun-Earth-Moon system repeats again. The Babylonians realized that in 223 repetitions of the lunar phase cycle, you would have 239 repetitions in the apparent size of the moon oscillating, and 242 plunges through the plane of the ecliptic. All of these roughly equal the same amount of time.
That coincidence is what leads to these Saros cycles. Every Saros cycle, the position of the moon relative to the line between the Earth and the Sun and relative to the plane of the ecliptic is sort of in the same configuration. That's what produces an eclipse.
When the lunar cycle reaches exactly the right point, its gravitational forces react with electromagnetic pockets and theoretically creates a kind of bridge.
Within previous work we have seen that energy travels between dimensions through a sine wave that travels through cycles. Is where we find the Saros cycle that can be used to predict eclipses of the Sun and Moon. One Saros period after an eclipse, the Sun, Earth and Moon return to approximately the same relative geometry. A near straight line and a nearly identical eclipse will occur, in what is referred to as an eclipse cycle. A SAR is 1/2 of a Saros, so a bridge of 9 years.
In this case, 9 years apart. What you may know simply as a supermoon or blood moon are actually events of great scientific significance.
So when your soul come, your spirit first, you come from spirit.
Hey! Hey! Help me!
And then you get a soul, which has 7 conditions. All these planets right here, the 7 planets, okay? Soul radiates and you get a body, a physical body that is controlled by Saturn or Kronos, Father Time.
So as this thing comes into existence, it makes a path counterclockwise and it traces out a toroid shape. You take the ball and you put a dot on it. Let's say this is the dot. This is tracing that waveform, the carrier wave waveform, as it goes and flips here and goes up and around.
Greenie, rise and shine.
Come on, Greenie, rise and shine. The green energy. A reference to a spirit that arises through a chimney. And where a soul radiates light within the Solomon system while playing red light, green light, so locking and unlocking the energy body. The energy rod, therefore, is a tool needed to have your soul radiate light, so electromagnetic energy, through a specific Window's resonance amplitude, a concept highlighted in the heart-shaped Xbox video. Could be a mechanism to transfer consciousness from one dimension to another. A number of studies have reported that biological systems like humans develop specific amplitude windows to frequency metrics for magnetic fields that, through a system of signal transduction mechanisms and information exchange, can influence energy levels for electrons to the position of the electronic structure of an atom during the execution of important biological processes. In other words, like Kurt is showing us, by controlling the light through this amplitude Window's resonance and magnetic field matrix using the energy rod, one could convert energy into another light body while using light as a carrier wave. Inside your heart-shaped box.
I can use some help in the kitchen. Hey, we got a runner!
So, if an entity is in need to vampire or steal energy from a spirit, or even is said to move between dimensions without using the host's original timelines,
the yin-yang flow, which is a mutation of the yang-yun natural flow, because it is not open to the natural timelines anymore. It can't run the natural energy, so it finds things to feed on.
It needs to create a link, an ambush, or a pathway between dimensions.
Toby? Toby!
So with a Nelly Furtado's Man-Eater clip, we first noticed the cat, Egyptian symbology for a pathway to another world, followed up by Toby, the dog star, carrying the black and white coloring code of the Solomon machine, and is descending using the stairway from heaven into the underworld. This system is needed to breach or compromise the energy rod to create a doorway through a up-is-down sine wave, a wormhole that can lock itself through a cycle of time, the zodiac.
Vernal equinox, or for example the solstices, the vernal equinox and the solstices are two lines in space that are right angles to each other. I'll show you a graphic in a minute. But in any case, as we go around this wheel, this great wheel here, this wheel of this cosmic wheel, what we're going to see is that each of these is a zodiacal sign. We have here Pisces, we have here Aquarius. So now the vernal equinox is poised. It's moving out of the star constellation of Pisces, moving into the star constellation of Aquarius.
Called the poison apple magnetic field configuration, and they are part of the beast system that literally harnesses a body in order to drag it into black hole fall and keep some facsimile of its form intact. So they are part of the vampire hijack machine. And you would have the closed circulation system. This is a system that actually is cut off from the flows of the spirit body. What it does is it takes a portion of the light body quantum and twists it in reverse to create a false spirit body, so there's two flows. Completely blocks any inflow from the actual genuine spirit body. And it traps the consciousness, the part that's stuck in the atoms, right, from the rest of its own identity.
And explain how everything works astrologically. All is Atum. Atum is astrology, the science of light. Jyotish means, Sanskrit word for astrology, the science of light. There's only one thing. There's only Tauruses. Nothing else exists. So when we come into the world, we get enmeshed in matter, red blood, red shift, red pill, blue pill.
So when your soul come, your spirit first, you come from spirit. And then you get a soul, okay? Then your soul radiates and you get a body, a physical body that is controlled by Saturn or Kronos, Father Time.
It's a clock. Oh my God, it's a clock. Virus, you're a genius. You're a genius.
In fact, this is all of our history. This is Aries, the Ram. Okay, so Aries, if you take the 12 signs of the zodiac and you put Aries here, where it should be, for the first 30 degrees of arc of every torus field, then you get the symbol of Aries. And of course, then this part here is Taurus. And what we see here is the center of the 8-spoked wheel. We're going to learn about this today. And you'll see the fixed signs of the zodiac: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius the man, Scorpio the eagle. And they correspond to Yod, He, Va, He, Jehovah, the 4 elements.
And arriving in the jungle, aka the physical universe. So how to control the inflow of light through a window resonance and signal induction mechanism, in which a spirit has been transformed into a soul that radiates its light into the quadrants of matter.
Oh.
47 for sure.
And so he's riding the mare to create an electromagnetic current that spirals out from the age of Cancer all the way out to create our perception of time and space.
This is the difference between the spirals. A natural Christic spiral that is born on the natural Pythagorean proportions comes out and it will look like this on its natural expansion. This is the golden meanie spiral. That is part of, yes, and its number sequences that are part of the antichristic beast technologies. All right, down here, thank you. Down here, it shows the interface of the two, where actually the Fibonacci golden meanie spiral is meant to cut across and literally hijack the energy of the Christic spiral before it gets out to where it can expand and become stronger.
A whole new tune.
So this is the Lamb of God. Christ is the Good Shepherd. Here is the Bull of God, the golden calf. Krishna is the good cowherd. Aries and Taurus. Aries is the cerebrum. Taurus is the cerebellum, the bull, the cerebellum. And those two brains, the cerebrum, left, right, and the cerebellum, the ram and the bull are what causes your feet to ramble on. So this is Gemini, the twins, the two pillars, Jachin and Boaz. Then what happens is this has to now decline. And Cancer is the month of mourning.
Once you slip it inside, slow castration.
Arriving through a chimney and a 47-degree wormhole. The main character of the movie The Maze Runner is called Thomas, with the etymology of Thomas referring to a twin, the pillars, the Solomon machine. Yes, it is no coincidence that these movie makers are hiding occult knowledge here. To emit light from a soul and into the material quadrants of matter, the presence of the Solomon seems to be an important mechanism to control the flow of radiation.
But this, my compass, is unique. unique here, having the meaning of broken.
True enough. This compass does not point north.
Surrounding the jungle, we notice the four corners of the world, to most people known as the four cardinal directions, north, south, east and west, that are holding a magnetic compass of energy.
And they correspond to Yod, He, Va, He, Jehovah, the four elements.
Well, what? Look closely, Baroness. The turrets. 3 in yours, 4 in Balkan's.
So this is it.
All together now. 1, 2, 3.
Chase with 4 stones in it! Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4! 4 stones! What the hell am I supposed to do with an empty case?
Yes, the magic of 4, referring to the 4 building stones.
Everyone take a stone. Water for water, fire for fire, earth for earth. Go, now.
Needed to shape the material quadrants of matter, the elements, wind, earth, water and fire. The 4 horses of the apocalypse, that like a steering wheel, or rather like a rudder within the zodiac, flow as 4 rivers of radiation within cycles of time. This to convert the light, or rather, to convert the spirit into the quadrants of matter. Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle! We got fun and games!
Look at that.
My dear friends, my beautiful disruptors, my closest inner circle.
To control this flow, you'll need a window that holds these 4 points of the compass. The 2 solstices and the 2 equinoxes.
The solstices, the vernal equinox and the solstices are 2 lines in space that are right angles to each other. I'll show you a graphic in a minute.
This to control a point of light, so the movement of the sun and moon, the Solomon machine within a cycle of time.
What's special? How does the sun make light?
It's a transformer. Transforms from some other dimension. It's not burning anything. It doesn't have to. It's a converter.
Of what?
I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what it does. That's the only thing it can do, because that's how everything works.
It's transforming from another dimension.
Yeah, you could say it's taking energy from another dimension, counter space.
Toby? Toby?
Where does it point?
It points to the thing you want most in this world.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
The ignition of a sine wave through the age of Cancer ignites a current that powers a pirate ship, the Black Pearl. Representing a black hole torus field we know as called the Sun. In the movie sequence it has a counterpart, the Flying Dutchman, Hati the Moon. That together generate a spiral, creating a pathway towards Ragnarok, the apocalypse of an original Taurus field, aka the ship.
The oldest stories ever told are written in the stars.
And so he's riding the mare to create an electromagnetic current. From the age of Cancer. Perception of time and space. The calendar here starts in the age of Cancer because this is the moment we begin. We need to have a tool for measuring time and space again.
Clock.
Did she come here to try to take me? Or did she call my name? I think it's gonna rain. Oh, when I
Belt. Orion's belt.
she hates me. Did she call my name? I think it's gonna rain.
In the middle you have the Eye of Horus, sitting on an arrow.
To prevent war, the galaxy is on Orion's belt. What the hell does that mean?
Did you know? In Men in Black, 1997, while in the jewelry store, Jay is looking at pictures of the cat. One of the pictures has the cat's name, Orion, hence why Jay knew the name of the cat and was able to figure out the galaxy is on Orion's belt.
This is the image of Horus with the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt on the erect lotus pillar. This is Nun, shadowless consciousness. He takes the first step. If you take these line to the center of Taret's belly and you take the erect pillar to the center of Taret's belly, you have a 23.5 degree angle.
Slowly forget my life, the line to save me. Could she love me again? Will she hate me? Probably not, I know why. Can't explain me. Did she call my name?
So the arrow represents shadow consciousness, like Wim is suggesting.
My interpretation is, you are here.
And it seems he is right. Horus' arrow, the ecliptic pole. While Orion's arrow, the celestial pole, is pointed at Taurus, the Taurus. When hit by the arrow, so hit by a 47-degree wormhole, makes a spirit fall out of balance and into a river, the Eridanus, the celestial river, from which we keep rotating within a circle. But that's a story for the next video. For now, we will focus on the cross.
Change it up, spin it.
This first step is when we fall out of balance. This is the falling of the axis. We fall into form. And so he begins the hero's journey in the night cycle, the other direction back into center again.
So, a Taurus, the ship, a sine wave, and a hero's journey spiraling out back into center. Within a system we know as the day and night cycle, light and shadow.
The vernal equinox and the solstices are two lines in space that are right angles to each other. I'll show you a graphic in a minute. So what has been happening is that the vernal equinox, a hypothetical point in space occupied by the sun, when day and night are the exact same duration, that vernal point is moving through space as a result of this axial motion of the Earth. And ancient peoples would go to great lengths to try to observe and predict that motion. So they would set up structures, oftentimes on a very large scale, that would be oriented to certain points in space so that one could, from certain vantage points, such as the center of a ringed megalithic structure, for example, or the center of a temple that had an axial orientation to a certain point on the horizon, one could make minute observations of this slowly shifting vernal equinox.
The vernal and autumnal equinox represent the rod current, while the winter and summer solstice hold the staff current. This cross holds the crossing of energy through the motion of the celestial and the ecliptic pole. So the crossing of the ecliptic plane and the equatorial plane, referring to the aligning of Horus' arrow and Orion's arrow through a 23.5-degree angle. The flow of energy through the mechanism of a 47-degree wormhole within a torus. So the crossing of the ecliptic plane and the equatorial plane seem to be a system to convert a spirit, so light and radiation, into the quadrants of matter, and vice versa. The butterfly effect.
Hey.
Hey there, Green Bean. You're not gonna run again, okay?
We're going to go around every 45 degrees around the middle. We go around, and you're going to view 8 of the letters, the top and the bottom. See that? That's the origin of the heart shape.
While being locked inside a cube, Thomas' spirit has set its eyes towards the pillars. In front of a gateway we notice a goat, either referring to Baphomet, the Venus portal, or to Aries, with the latter being a link to the March equinox.
This is Aries, the ram. Okay, so Aries, if you take the 12 signs of the zodiac and you put Aries here where it should be, for the first 30 degrees of arc of every Taurus field, then you get the symbol of Aries.
We are looking at one of the corners of the world, the vernal equinox, a portal from which light or radiation enters this world through the Solomon day and night cycle. Its vernal points are 2 moments in the year when the sun is exactly above the equator and day and night are of equal length. Also, either of the 2 points in the sky where the ecliptic, so the sun's annual pathway, and the celestial equator intersect. So the red spot, a point in the sky which to ancient civilizations seems to be an important gateway, holds the vernal and autumnal equinox, an entry point for radiation to be converted through the Solomon machine using cycles of time.
I need some muddy water.
Clear. That's the apex.
Oh my god. Oh, it's in shivers. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Good. My name is Albie. Can you tell me anything about yourself, who you are, where you came from, anything at all?
Good afternoon. Please give your attention to my associate, Agent J. He's going to demonstrate an electro-biomechanical neural transmitting zero synapse repositioner. We call it the neuralizer. Keep it simple, Slade. Thanks a lot.
Sulpicius Gallus M symbology in Men in Black. We notice the same V-shape as within the crater, the 47-degree wormhole, and they are showing us Saturn's northern and southern poles, the eye and the hexagon, that together form a ship, a Taurus that has crashed into a crater.
Thank you, Agent K. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here. And if you will, look right here.
Can you tell me your name?
I can't remember anything. Why can't I remember anything?
Okay. Hey, relax. Relax.
I want to sketch a possibility that through the light and water transfer of radiation between dimensions is causing us to forget who we are. Current pandemic of dementia within our elderly might refer to the transfer of consciousness from an original world towards another. Slowly resetting our consciousness in the veil of forgetfulness.
Right, so we spiral out. Now what's really fascinating is Anubis is also known as the embalmer, right? So the embalmer was responsible for putting the linens, the mummification linens. But here he is embalming us in the electromagnetic field, the veil of forgetfulness, right? The Earth's magnetic field. This is this is falling into form in a perception of time and space in a container.
Isn't it amazing how the moon is the exact distance from the Earth to actually cover the sun perfectly like that? What are the chances of that?
Arriving through a chimney and locked inside a cube, from which we shine our light through the four corners of the world. Let's start from the beginning.
Amin.
So you just arrived from spirit to matter and been given a physical body that, like a sine wave, is diving up and down into the water. The ritual of baptism. Probably a shocking experience for this young one. Spattering within the upside down fountain of life, so the upside down Taurus. Man, look at this face. That's just quite the experience. So let's have a look at the baptism font. In most cases represented by the octagon and the cross. The bridging of a spirit to the quadrants of matter through the four corners of the world, and using a octagon system. Probably referring to the 8 moon phase transfer system of the Solomon machine.
And what we see here is the center of the 8-spoked wheel. We're going to learn about this today.
Reach the stars, fly a fantasy. Dream a dream, and what you see will be. Run against our sacred thrill. I'm bold behind the clouds, and there upon a rainbow is the answer.
Yes, flying a fantasy. Guys, I'm only using the celestial system as it highlights the mechanics of a Taurus. So I'm not gonna go into the shape of the Earth, all that kind of stuff, if it's a globe or a flat Earth, or also really interesting is the concave Earth. For now I will focus on the creation of a torus field, in which we see planets to be or to act like focal points of energy spheres or rings that together form the torus, also known in artwork as a flower. And there upon a rainbow is the answer to a never-ending story.
Susie. Okay, so listen. Do you know Planck's constant?
Do you know the Earth orbits the Sun?
Okay, so I know it starts with 2 6s, and then well, what is it?
Again, they show us the octagon, that within Stranger Things highlights the location of a suitcase or box with 2 keys, the sun and moon, accessible only with the code of Planck's constant.
Thinking about this, I did some investigations about the St. Peter's Square. Apparently, there is an alignment with summer solstice and winter solstice.
Planck's constant is 6.626070004.
Planck's constant is a fundamental universal constant that defines the quantum nature of energy and relates the energy of a photon to its frequency. As this is a complex topic, I'll minimize it to this basic explanation. To bridge 2 dimensions, you need a time window, a clockwork, that through a cross generates a sine wave that will bridge energy through black body radiation using light as a carrier wave. So the 2 ignition keys of red and blue shift the Sun and Moon. Cold and heat create a portal for a black body to enter this dimension through the Rainbow Bridge, as I think that dimensions can only be bridged through radiation. So for the bridging of the Taurus, so the ship, you need a rudder, the moon phase rudder. The octagon is a necessity for energy to undergo the process of birth, death and rebirth. It's the materialization of a spirit into the quadrants of matter, using the Sun and Moon system and red and blue shift.
The great year was divided into 4 great seasons, symbolized by the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: the bull, the lion, the eagle, and the man or the angel.
All together now. 1, 2, 3.
If you divide 25,920 by 4 to determine the duration of each season, you'll discover that it's 6,480 years, which is interesting because 6,480 years, as you recall, was the total measure of the dodecahedron. So here we have this same number linking the measure of space in terms of the dodecahedron, 6,480 degrees, and the season of the great year, which was considered to be profoundly important to ancient cultures all over the world, who had various ways of representing this 4-fold division of cyclical time.
When a mind is imprisoned, then our spiritual life dies. When the spirit dies, there is no reason to live.
Big day, Greenie. Sure you don't want to sit this one out?
Come on, man.
Get me out of here.
The first thing they try to do in lockup is break your spirit. You can't allow that to happen. You have to stay mentally strong. You have to focus on 3 key things to a successful breakout. What are they?
1. Know the layout. 2.
A prison called Hades, with rings and centered within the octagon, the moon phase rudder.
Thomas. Thomas. Hey! Thomas! I remember my name! I'm Thomas!
Understand the routine. 3. Have help from the inside or out.
Teamwork, exactly. Your favorite one, I can tell. Remember, Shu, you move together. Everything flows as one.
If one of us survives, we all survive.
All right, then we have, from the ancient Chaldeans, we have what was known as the Saros cycle, which was 3,600 years. So we see a repetition of that number. The 3,600, if you recalling and are taking notes, is the number of degrees measuring the icosahedron. Then we have the decans. You'll notice that a Platonic month, which is 1/12 of the great year, right there. You divide that number by 12, you get this number, 2,160. And that number, you may recall, depending on how good your memory is the number of degrees measuring the cube, 2,160.
Let's go! This way! Not much further to the inner ring. Let's go!
And then you'll notice the 2 decads of the ecliptic, or 20 degrees of the ecliptic, is 1,440, the number of degrees in the octahedron. And 1 decan, or 10 degrees, for any of you who've studied astrology, you know that the decads are important to astrological determinations. One decad of 10 degrees then takes 720 years. And so here we have all 5 of the Platonic solids represented in these particular time cycles.
When the lunar cycle reaches exactly the right point, its gravitational forces react with electromagnetic pockets and theoretically creates a kind of bridge.
Yeah, bridge to where?
The moon has a radius of 1,080 miles, which gives it a diameter of 2,160. Remember I said that 1,080 or 108 and its double, 2160, was a lunar number. See, this is a clue to you now. There are several references, for example, in the Sumerian tradition describing the ark built by Xisthros, which is being described as a cube that makes no sense. You think, what kind of a ship is it that would be described as a cube? You know, that wouldn't be very seaworthy, a cube, right? But it's not referring to an actual ship as we think of it. It's referring to the cubing of the sphere. And in this case, the sphere that it's referring to is the moon, which was symbolically considered to be an ark to many of the ancient cultures that believed that the earth was periodically destroyed by great catastrophes.
Likely being held in the heart of Tartarus. There can't be much time before his life force is completely sapped.
But how do we get to him?
It's the maze. All of it.
A prison and maze called Hades. While lifting the veil of forgetfulness, we notice the underworld, a labyrinth known as Tartarus, in which we recognize the 8-spoke wheel, the cosmic wheel, also known as the moon phase rudder, which center holds a physical realm, the jungle, within a construct of a cube. The latter refers to both the Earth and Moon portal.
But when I designed this marvel, I included a secret passage, a shortcut, if you will.
You designed Tartarus.
Oh, aye. And built it. Aphrodite, I could not only get you inside, I could give you a guided tour.
What do you mean all of it? I thought you were still mapping it. There's nothing left to map. I've run every inch of it myself. Every cycle, every pattern. If there was a way out, we would have found it by now.
In order for the prison of Tartarus to be completely impregnable, I built it from the outside in. So I had to leave a passage for myself to get out when the work was done. And this labyrinth is the only way a human can travel through the underworld and get to the heart of Tartarus.
2160, 4320, 6480, 8640, 10,800. We saw the number 108. I called your attention to that when I was asking you what was the atomic weight of silver and which metal, I mean, which astronomical object is silver associated with? The moon, yes.
Apparently, there is an alignment with summer solstice and winter solstice.
Io Silver! Away!
And so he begins the hero's journey in the night cycle, the other direction back into center again.
So as this thing comes into existence, it makes a path counterclockwise and it traces out a toroid shape.
The whole thing is rotating. You've got a picture that this propeller is rotating counterclockwise.
Other direction back into center again, right? So we spiral out.
A clock system that is spiraling out back to center. Along the vernal equinox, we notice these two corners of the world. The Silver Gate at Orion and opposite the Golden Gate at Ophiuchus. While being a topic for future work, these gateways seem to access a pathway back into center of a galaxy, from which the energy rod is transferring energy from one point to another. For that you need a silver key and a golden key. Crossing this path where two planes of consciousness meet, so the equinox and the ecliptic, is also where two pirate ships come together as one. A silver cube spaceship called the Moon and a black hole pearl known to us as the Sun seem to be the main portals for radiation to flow into a cross.
Take a look at this. About a year ago, we started exploring these outer sections. And we found these numbers printed on the walls, sections 1 through 8. See, the way it works is every night when the maze changes, it opens up a new section. So today, section 6 was open. Tomorrow, there'll be 4 and 8 and 3. The pattern always stays the same.
The pattern always stays the same. Of course referring to the 7-day cycle. And Wim's awesome findings regarding the solar system's retrogrades.
So the retrograde is the point where you move at the same speed of the Earth. Now let's bring it all to 60 to have the same ratio. Now let's turn this system around. Now imagine at a certain point all the retrogrades are lining up. At this point you have a corridor to the eternal light outside our mirror ball. See it like a combination lock.
What's so special about 7? I don't know.
As there are various systems to link numbers to planets, I prefer for the designation of numbers within the maze the use of Hindu astrology. While 7 also refers to Saturn and Uranus, which are important sky portals, I want to focus on any reference I can find to the Solomon machine, so to the Sun and the Moon.
This compass does not point north.
Where does it point?
It points to the thing you want most.
To steer a pirate ship, we use a compass that doesn't point north, but what you want most. So, a steer wheel on emotions and feelings. We notice a combination number 1472865, which sum is, yes, 33.
Aber alle 33 Jahre ist alles wieder genauso, wie es war. Die Sterne, die Planeten, das ganze Universum ist wieder auf der exakt gleichen Position. Der lunarsolare Zyklus.
At this point, you have a corridor to the eternal light outside our mirror ball.
The Saros cycle holds the main connection of light and water within a sine wave. The motion to power a pirate ship. Some simple math. 1 degree of the Great Cycle is 72 years. Within 72 years we have 4 complete Saros cycles, and so 8 Sar cycles of 9 years.
Both appearances of the murderer have happened during a very specific lunar perigee, in this case, 9 years apart.
So let's take a look at the energy video, and in the front, the reddish color, you see the torus field. But in the back you have the 369 pyramid, constantly inverting, +9, -9, +9, -9.
She gets torn apart by a train, and 9 years later she's back alive and killing. Listen, we're all going forward, but her, she's going backward, decade by decade.
For the Solomon machine to transfer shadow consciousness or even blasting a hole in the firmament, we need to calculate the moon phase cycle in a SAR. So we have 8 SAR cycles of 9 years. Is 9 times 13 moon cycles is a total of 117 moon cycles in a SAR. Multiply this with 8 for a full 1 degree of the clock, you'll get 936. The numbers of a counter-rotating field.
So you have the 369 pyramid. How do you create the inversion? Well, 1 and 2 is 3, 7 and 8 is 15, 1 and 5 is 6, and then 5 and 4 is 9. That is how you create the inversion.
As this thing comes into existence, it makes a path counterclockwise and it traces out a toroid shape.
The other direction back into center again, right? So we spiral out.
So here you have the diagram of a toroid dominated by a counter-rotating pyramid.
Eventually the Saros cycle and the 33-year lunar cycle synchronize their portals 33 times every 792 years within this clockwork to complete a full cycle of a bridge.
Theoretically, creates a kind of bridge.
Yeah, bridge to where?
Another place entirely.
The number 7 referring to Ketu is the descending southern lunar node in Vedic or Hindu astrology, while Rahu is the northern lunar node, the lunar ascending and descending nodes on the Earth's ecliptic plane. Both Rahu and Ketu are considered to be the 2 halves of the immortal Asura, which is a demon Swarabanu, who was beheaded by the god Vishnu. As per Vedic astrology, Rahu and Ketu are seen as shadow planets and have an orbital cycle of 18 years, being 180 degrees from each other orbitally. This coincides with the professional orbit of the Moon and the 18-year Saros cycle. Eclipses occur when the Sun and Moon are at one of these points. Ketu signifies the spiritual process of the refinement of materialization to the spirit, and it is considered to be a process that causes material loss in order to force a more spiritual outlook in the person.
Grievers. The hell is that?
Ketu, number 7, signifies spirituality and inner wisdom. With that, Thomas is following the lunar nodes, or should we say the shadow portals. This is where he finds a wormhole, an exit out of the maze. To enter, we need to insert another code, 715264883. Within mathematics, These numbers refer to the hidden beast number, the number 666 of the carbon atom. So, what does this all mean?
You have to focus on 3 key things to a successful breakout. What are they?
1. Know the layout. 2. Understand the routine. 3. Have help from the inside or out.
We might be a step closer into exploring the layout and the routine of cycles of an energetic prison called Hades, or also known as the solar system, while at the same time raising more questions. Radiation Matters will follow the path of Orion, a portal which Arrow hides more than the eye meet. Well guys, much love and thank you for watching.
She has me like a Pisces where I am weak. I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks. I've been drawn into your magnet trap. I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn back. Hey, wait. Is she ready to know my frustration? What you slipping inside? Slow castration. I'm a riddle so strong you can't break me. Did she come here to try to take me? Or did she call my name? I think it's gonna rain. Oh, when I was it something I said held against me? Ain't no life on the run, slowly climbing. Calling out so she stares at nothing. I can help her but won't. Now she hates me. Until she call my name. I think it's gonna rain. Oh, when I
Wow, that's so creepy.
It is creepy.
That just looks so wrong.
Woodrow Steenbeck. For his work in the sphere of astronomical imaging,
It may have applications in the development of interstellar advertising.
Severing.
I thought we lost you. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here.